touches the eastern sky as I'm standing on this reservation road. Been looking forward to this day when I would walk this road, 'cause this road takes me back to my baby's house. Reservation road, take me home, carry me onward, back to her. Reservation road.
Hada KCAZ hoje na huilji Thursday 1 o'clock 5:30 hada KCAZ ahehan kedini dole Theodore Dr. Nygren Navajo Nation President Hanet KTNN shletole. Upcoming holidays or appreciation days. Today is the summer solstice. It's the day of the sun's peak power, the longest day of the year. As summer goes on, our days will get shorter. The solstice serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of all living beings in the world. Ceremonies are happening around the world by indigenous people who believe it's a time for reflection, meditation, spiritual growth, and communal gatherings and storytelling. The sun will not set at the North Pole today. There will be 24 hours of sunlight. To celebrate, enjoy summer festivities like barbecuing, hiking, camping, or other fun summer activities. Le o Johona Betsado Edentin AI Yesepetzi le Hone Yes Dij Gone. Missing Navajo Peoples report from the Navajo Police Department this week. From Crown Point Police District, 34-year-old Herschel Becenti was last seen June 2nd, Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's 5'5", 165 pounds, brown eyes and black hair. He was last seen wearing a gray shirt, shorts, and brown work boots. If you have any information, please call the Crown Point Police Department at 505-786-2050 or 2051. Found Navajo people, Sarah Claw, has been located and she is safe. She was reported missing June 15 in Shiprock, New Mexico. Roxanne McDonald has been located and she is safe and was last reported missing June 13 in Pruitt, New Mexico. We appreciate your efforts to keep an eye out for our missing Dene relatives. Thank you for helping them return home. A message from our Department of Health. The Navajo Nation's Breast and Cervical Cancer Prevention Program wants you to know that breast cancer is the leading form of cancer affecting Navajo women. You have the power to take control and protect your health for you and your family. Screening mammograms are the best form of protection against breast cancer. It is recommended that women begin annual mammogram screenings at age 40. If you are a woman age 40 to 64, you're eligible to receive mammograms at our screening events at no cost, regardless of insurance status. Navajo Department of Health provides screenings at several locations across Navajo Nation throughout the year. For more information, call 928-871-6348 or find the program at Navajo Nation's Department of Health's website, ndoh.navajo-nsn.gov. This year, we celebrate 50 years of improving the health of women and children through the WIC program. WIC provides nutrition, education, and supplemental food, breastfeeding support, and referrals to health and social services to mothers, infants, and children under the age of 5. WIC serves 6.5 million infants, children, and pregnant, postpartum, breastfeeding women. This amounts to 40% of all infants in the U.S., includes 33 tribes. For more information on services, you can contact the WIC office at 928-871-6698. Frequently asked question of the week. I live off reservation. Am I eligible for housing assistance? The Navajo Homeowner Assistance Fund is available to eligible applicants impacted by the pandemic with a need to maintain home ownership. The funding is available through September 30th, 2026. NHAF is available only for Navajo urban relatives who are homeowners living in Arizona and New Mexico at the moment. For information, contact Native Community Capital at 505-792-6544 or visit their website at nativecap.org. The Navajo Nation Credit Services Department is an additional resource to provide loans to qualified individuals who may need to purchase items or services on credit. It's time to plant. Navajo Life Lesson of the Week. June is the month of early planting. Yischash KCZY. It's when the big rain comes to nourish the newly planted seeds. Although it's hot now, we can expect an early monsoon season this year. This is the time of year when the wild plants that have sustained or people for centuries start to bear their fruit. Today is also the start of summer solstice, when many indigenous people around the world celebrate rebirth, renewal, growth of crops, and life. A few of the week's accomplishments. I signed legislation to reallocate ARPA dollars into a Revenue Replacement Reserve Fund. The Revenue Reserve Replacement Fund houses money that is to reimburse the Navajo Nation for its use of general funds during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Revenue Replacement Reserve will hold $521 million in any interest earned. Once these funds are placed in a trust fund yet to be created, we will be able to leverage it for more economic development opportunities. This will help us keep our projects moving forward even as revenue for the nation continues to decline. I have line item vetoed items that were allocated to the trust fund because projects do not have equity or profit sharing agreements in place. I call on the council to support our comprehensive approach to economic development that includes equity and profit sharing agreements, thereby ensuring the Navajo Nation money works for us. The Navajo Nation Council also relocated $24 million in funding intended for housing manufacturing into the $521 million that will be placed into the Revenue Replacement Reserve. I asked the Navajo Nation Council to support former Bennett Freeze chapters and relocate these by allocating $50 million to assist them. Also in the legislation, we put $63 million in additional for housing so we can build more housing across Navajo land, and also $137 million to help support NTUA to build water treatment plants that are desperately needed in Shiprock, Kayenta, Chinle, and Ganado. Last Friday, the Ganado Senior Center and Veteran Building held its grand opening. This senior center was funded by CIHSN and UUFB, totaling $4.4 million. This new 4,747 square feet building offers meals and activities for our elders. It's a haven for them where they can enjoy each other's company. Our senior center staff provides meals for over 175 seniors in the local area. This building also gives veterans a place to hold monthly events and meetings. Carrizo Gravel Pit grand opening. For the past 20 years, Apache County and the Navajo Nation have tried to gain access to the gravel pit to start mining the road-based material. Together, we were able to get approval from the U.S. Department of Interior to start mining aggregate base from this site. Apache County and NDOT will share the aggregate material to maintain school bus routes and for use in road improvement projects in the local area. Navajo Nation Department of Transportation has given $150,000 for gravel pit development, fencing, signs, and other items using the Navajo Nation fuel access tax. This is only the first of many gravel pits in collaboration with Supervisor Shirley across the Navajo Nation. My team is working on getting additional approvals for additional gravel pits in various areas across Navajo. Groundbreaking for the Shiprock Command Center. Last year, Director Mike Anderson and Director Gray Eyes briefed me on the importance of a $12.7 million emergency management center that was critical to community safety. Police officers do not have the means to incarcerate criminals or individuals awaiting trial, while EMTs are operating out of a conference room in Northern Navajo Medical Center. And firefighters have limited access to their fire trucks due to the size of the vehicle bays. By building a new command center, first responders will be able to communicate between departments efficiently, create incident command centers, response teams, and improve on emergency response times. We will start to build the command center on June 25 and will complete construction in 18 months. Cost to build the command center have increased to $16 million. Community members came together to push for this response team, and through collaboration, we were able to break ground today. Major projects I'm working on. I took part in Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs' MMIT Task Force meeting. Governor Hobbs' Task Force team meeting was held here at the Office of the President and Vice President with the First Lady's guidance. The team met with our office community representatives for missing and murdered and dead relatives. Yolanda Azusa, Director of Social Services, Thomas Cody, the First Lady, Jasmine Blackwater Nygren, State Law Enforcement, Navajo Nation Division of Public Safety, MMIP Liaison, Council Delegate Amber Crotty, and other tribal MMIP representatives within Arizona. During their meeting, they discussed how to address the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous people in Arizona based on data collected from tribal nations on MMIP cases they've had to handle. The Navajo Nation Tax Commission is working to ensure all contracts and businesses are paying their taxes. Director Effiat City is investigating business site leases in the nation to see if they have operating businesses within their spaces. These businesses are responsible for paying the sales tax, business activity tax, and or the possessionary interest tax. She and her team will also check the businesses that have oil and severance leases to ensure operators are paying the oil and severance tax. She will work with the controller's office so that all contracts moving through the 164 process have the Navajo Nation sales tax. For the week of June 12th through June 18th, NNTC has collected and deposited $149,000 in money orders and checks and $71,000 in wire transfers for a total of $221,000 in tax revenue. These taxes were largely funded by oil and severance tax and fuel access tax. The Division of Social Services is moving forward to change its programs from 638 programs to a 477 program. The 477 program for programs was enacted in 1972 to reduce administrative burdens on tribes while giving them the flexibility to combine programs that are federally funded. This initiative targets programs that provide employment, training, related social services. A 477 plan is an opportunity for a tribe to develop an employment and training service that is based on their unique tribal goals. In the past, tribes have developed plans that focus on raising educational achievement, addressing the needs of tribal youth, increasing self-sufficiency, and fostering tribal economic development. Tribal 477 plans are approved for 3 years at a time. By participating, the Navajo Nation can improve client services to serve more people, make better use of staff, use a single case management system, reduce paperwork, follow tribal priorities, and submit single budget for multiple programs. Navajo DOT has begun the process of reorganizing the Navajo DOT Road Maintenance Department. Director Tom Platero held a planning meeting where staff mapped out the locations for future road maintenance yards based on snow removal needs. They assigned staff based on the number of miles serviced by each location. The Road Maintenance Department will begin a solo operation without any affiliation with project management, and funding will stay separate from NDOT resources. The implementation date for these changes are for the beginning of fiscal year 2025. My staff continues to push forward with youth centers across the Navajo Nation. Our Western Agency Representative and Chinle Agency Representative Vicky Shirley and Raina Dotson met with Senator Hatathli to discuss funding and support for the proposed Tuba City Youth Center. Senator Hatathli requested the budget for the project. Our goal is to serve the youth and surrounding communities and the proposal. The estimated cost to build the youth center is about $9 million. The land is already withdrawn and soil and cultural studies have been completed. Our Chinle Agency rep met with myself, ODY staff, and Delegate Shauna Claw to obtain approval to use the Crown Point Youth Center plans in Chinle and Tuba City. NDOH increases its efforts to fight cancer. The Navajo Nation Breast Cancer Prevention Program provided mammograms to 36 women at its mammogram mobile unit in Tsaile, Arizona. The program set up a booth at Gallup's Relay for Life event and had over 150 visit their booth. The Navajo Cancer Work Group is working with the Navajo Epidemiology Center to launch a Navajo Nation Cancer Dashboard. Once it builds its dashboard, it will provide information on the number of cancer cases on the Navajo Nation, hospitalization rates, and the resources for families to use. We will keep you updated on its progress. Meet and greets. I attended the Goulding's grand opening on June 14. This grand opening officially marked the start of operations for Goulding's Lodge under the Navajo Nation. Various council delegates were in attendance, including Herman Daniels, Brenda Jesus, Shauna Claw, Otto So, Rick Nez, Danny Simpson, Speaker Curley, and others were in attendance at the event. And different members from the various departments of Navajo Nation Division of Economic Development, Navajo Nation Division of Natural Resources, and all the staff that worked on it to get it to the finish line. In October of last year, the Navajo Nation purchased the property for $59.5 million. This includes 670 acres of land, which can be further developed into housing or other economic opportunities. Goulding's Lodge employs over 300 staff members. The Navajo Nation Hospitality Enterprise will manage the property and have entered a profit-sharing agreement with the Navajo Nation, providing $7.4 million to the nation annually. And this location is located in Monument Valley. It was also a testament of re-securing our land. So we've taken 670 acres of land back into the Navajo Nation in one of the most beautiful, iconic places in the world. I participated in a 2-day government-to-government summit at Navajo Prep. On the first day, we focused the entire day on education, while on the second day, we focused on elder care services, historic preservation, capital outlay, and public safety. The education of Native American students has been an ongoing issue, even instigating the Yazzie-Martinez court case, which drew attention to education disparities. Leadership from the Navajo Preparatory School and Santa Fe Indian School gave a presentation highlighting their best practices for supporting students and their families to achieve improved educational outcomes. Tribal leadership came together to discuss their tribal education systems and to be a voice for student populations. In attendance was Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, various cabinet secretaries from Indian Affairs, Transportation, Education, Agriculture, and Tax were all in attendance, and we all had opportunities to talk about how can we move together as one between the Navajo Nation and the state of New Mexico. I had a meeting with the New Mexico Department of Veterans Services Secretary Brigadier General Jamison Herrera. Secretary Herrera was confirmed as a cabinet secretary in February. He has over 34 years of service with the National Guard and is familiar with veteran issues in the state. I will work with Secretary Herrera to advocate for a veterans hospital, a veterans cemetery, a larger representation of Native American veterans nationally, and funding to honor their service. We also discussed a proposal to construct the first National Guard armory on the Navajo Nation in New Mexico to be located in the Eastern Agency. I look forward to our future collaborations together for the betterment of our veterans and to welcome 2-star Major General Miguel Aguilar to the Navajo Nation. He also served as a senior military advisor to Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham and is responsible for providing the state of New Mexico and the United States with a ready force of citizen airmen and soldiers. I met with Utah Governor Spencer Cox and House Speaker and Senate President leadership. Yesterday, I was in Salt Lake City to advocate for our Dinesh families residing in Utah. I met with Utah Governor Spencer Cox, Senate President Stuart Adams, and House Speaker Mike Schultz. Working together, we talked about a partnership to address the growing water needs in southern Utah area, including the community of Westwater. Economic and infrastructure development for the Utah Navajo were key points I also mentioned. In February, I also had an honor to meet with the First Presidency of the Church of Latter-day Saints. I look forward to working with the state of Utah and to ensure our Utah Navajos have a voice and are never forgotten. Within 2 hours, I met with the 3 top officials in Utah, and this was an honor because they needed to hear some of the challenges that we were facing on the Utah side of Navajo, and I wanted to make sure that our Utah Navajos feel like they're not forgotten. They were all very empathetic on moving forward where it benefits the state of Utah and benefits the Navajo Nation, and how can we collaborate on future projects. Upcoming events. My administration will sign a proclamation to bring awareness to the rising syphilis rates across Indian country. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted infection caused by bacteria that can cause long-term health problems if left untreated. In 2022, primary and secondary syphilis rates increased the most for American Indians and Alaskan Natives. There are free or low-cost confidential testing sites available on the Navajo Nation. You can find a mobile unit by visiting the Department of Health website at www.ndoh.navajo-nsn.gov. The only way to know you have syphilis is to get tested. If syphilis is detected early, it can be cured and treated with antibiotics. Next week, First Lady Jasmine Blackwater Nygren and I will join LGBTQ relatives for the annual Navajo Nation Pride event. As the largest indigenous LGBTQ plus pride in the country, hundreds will be in Window Rock for this historic event to celebrate the value of family, cohesion, and equality for all. This year's theme is Ayo Aninchne, Love is Sacred. The First Lady, Jasmine Blackwater Nygren, Attorney General Ethel Branch were chosen as this year's 2024 Champions of Pride for their unwavering support of LGBTQ plus and human rights. Pride Parade will begin at 10 a.m. from Navajo Nation Museum to the Council Chambers. Pride Festival and Marketplace with hundreds of vendors, information booths, and tribal programs will be present in front of the office of the President and Vice President. In closing, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in every Thursday at 1 o'clock and 5:30. And I really want to appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Continue to listen in and learn about all the challenges and the accomplishments that we're getting done on behalf of the Navajo Nation. And as I've always told my staff we are essential to the Navajo Nation government. We should expect to work weekends, holidays, whatever it takes, because there's so much need all across the Navajo Nation that we got to have a good mindset. We got to think positive. We got to work hard. We got to do research and be prepared on a day-to-day basis. Navajo Nation employees, I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you do on a day-to-day basis. And there's probably some times where you don't get a thank you, but I just want to remind you that I appreciate the work that you do. Continue to fight on behalf of the Navajo people and be proud to be a Navajo Nation employee. And to my Navajo people, thank you for tuning in. We do this every day for each and every one of you. We don't have all the resources, but we give it our best effort every single day because we're thinking about you. Because end of the day, we're all Navajo. We put our best foot forward and we try to do our very best to get projects moving in a really good direction. On behalf of the Navajo people, this is President Nygren. Continue to be blessed and may God be with you each and every day. And we'll see you next Thursday, 1 o'clock and 5:30. Take care of one another. Check on your elders. Check on your children. Check on your community. And most of all, make sure that you're good yourself. Always check up on yourself as well. So continue to be blessed. See you next week. Thank you.
Yat anos to headlang kroshaho iba hensen. Niki jahananas de hiki shik danos niki did ilaban ante shitanosen hadas dashe ani le tohajile nashta chideshita keda shineda chidin denigi bisata le she's ani fair banate. They have a lot of information that's going out to the community of Twahajile at their health fair. One of the topics that was being discussed at the health fair was getting tested for colon cancer. There's kits that seems to me that are pretty easy to use. The instructions that were given at the health fair seem pretty simple, and it's very much a task that we can take on for ourselves to prevent us from getting too sick if we do have that illness in us. And if it's caught early, it is very much treatable. So if you're not in the Twahajile community, reach out to the local clinics that you have in your part of the Navajo Nation. Ask them about colon cancer test kits and see what they have there. And if not, then I'm sure that some of the staff at those clinics will find a way to help you with that. So it is a cancer that is treatable and that you can survive. My younger brother Santiago works in the community at Kwajile, and he talked about that. So go out there and get tested. I think he said that if you're between the ages of 45 and 55 was when you should start getting tested, and that's just a health issue out there that is being talked about. And then of course we talk about the summer programs that are happening out there. There's the free food program for our kiddos from, I think it's 5 years or 3 years old, or I'm not sure of the beginning age, but I guess when you're able to start eating as a young child to the age of 18, you can go to your local schools, or in Window Rock, they have signs in the area that say that there's summer feeding programs at that spot. So there's probably signs like that in your community. And with that, I would like to encourage our young kiddos to get out there and exercise and be active. Also to read your books, activate and exercise your brains over the summer so that when you get back to school, you are ready to go and you have gained more knowledge than you had when school ended back in May. Also to our community members, to please be aware of your pets that are a little bit more protective than other pets. If they see a runner, a child walking, or anything like that, please secure them so that these individuals are safe out there. I just saw a video on TikTok the other day where this young man he's a runner, and he posted on there, not all res puppies are mean, and he was out there running, and whoever was filming him um, had was showing all the res puppies that were following him and while he was running. So that's true. Not all res puppies are mean. But for those we know ourselves as pet owners, responsible pet owners, when our pets are a little bit more protective. So, so we'll have a good summer turnout. 4th of July is coming. We do have the huge fire that's happening in the state of New Mexico near our brothers and sisters down in the Mescalero Apache Reservation area, the city of Rio Doso. I just ask that we all continue to pray for moisture, to pray that our brothers and sisters down there are safe, and that even though they're being evacuated, that their homes, their animals, their lands are safe, and that the rains will come and will assist in extinguishing the fire out there. And with that, I'm sure we have all our kiddos. I know when my boys were younger, they were so excited to get fireworks going. Let's be responsible with that also, Shike. I know it's fun to do and it's wonderful to do, but there'll be some safe alternatives to watching fireworks in the local areas. Auction committee is working on one for the Crown Point area. Their rug auction is on the first Friday of every month, and just going out there and looking at those beautiful rugs, it gives you a happy heart to know that we have so many people out there still exercising this way of life. But I saw on social media that they are trying to work on a fireworks display there. We have the annual event here or there in Winter Rock, Arizona, for the 4th of July. Tuba City always does a wonderful job. The city of Farmington, the city of Gallup, Kayenta also has their 4th of July celebration. Thank you, Josie, for giving me that assistance there. We have it all over the reservation, a safe way, a safe alternative to practicing, celebrating the birth of our United States of America. And so thank you, everyone, for this time to be here. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Take care of one another. Be kind to one another. Let's continue to pray for one another. Continue to pray for our leadership in the Navajo Nation, from our president of the Navajo Nation, First Lady, their family, to our chapter officials, our grazing officials, our school board members, and to our city elected officers, our county elected officers, to the United States of America. Please be out there, exercise your right to vote. Our ancestors fought for it. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you again. This is your Vice President, Rochelle Montoya. Take care of one another, and most importantly, be kind to yourself, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Have a wonderful day.
Division of Community Development, Director and good afternoon, everybody listening on Facebook Live. My name is Arvin Mitchell. Let me just add to what Madam Vice President discovered. Election is coming up throughout the Navajo Nation on July the 30th, Tuesday, July the 30th. So Navajo Nation will be having their election, chapter election, school board election. So we'll have all those facilities ready to go on that day. Also, that same day is the Arizona primary election. And as you all know, Navajo Nation, we changed our primary election to coincide with the state election so we could have a better turnout for the state election. Though in New Mexico, you just had your primary election June the 4th, I believe it was. And what I hear was that there was a low turnout within the whole state of New Mexico for the primary. Hopefully by November, the general election, we will have a better turnout because leadership is always looking at Navajo, all the way from the state level, all the way from the Washington level. So it's very important that we all vote, because once you vote, leadership in these state and national level, at the county level, will sort of recognize you that you're voting for. So it's very important that we vote. So July the 30th, Arizona primary, then also for the chapter primary election. As they know, community development to a 110 chapter. So I'm looking forward to this election. Hopefully we can all start on the right foot back in when January comes around 2025. The last election, I know that we were in the midst of COVID, so we didn't have a lot of days orientation or training that happened for the newly elected leaders. So this time around, hopefully I can get monies into the upcoming budget, which is the FY25 fiscal year budget. We just started the budget this week. So Budget and Finance Committee yesterday, the other day, Tuesday, I understand that they got the budget going with the budget instruction manual, the allocations, and from last year to this year, we have 21 million more than what we had last year. So that is good. So that is good. We're above our revenues, so hopefully we can get additional monies to the chapters to help our people. Like I said, the budget is coming around, and all the chapters are asking for additional personnel, additional money. So I'll work with leadership over here and see if we can get some additional resources onto the chapters. If not, then we can probably work on how to provide technical assistance to the chapters. For the heavy equipments out there, I know that President at the last agency council meeting instructed myself and chief of staff to start working with the chapters on how do we get these heavy equipment running at the chapter level. How do we provide maintenance to these heavy equipment? Also to provide training for the folks that will be operating these heavy equipment, because winter will be coming around again, and we like to have these chapters be utilized when there's heavy snowstorm and all that. Although talking about budgets, I know that the public always says, how much money does the chapter have? When you go to the Division of Community Development website, DCD website, under Navajo Nation, go to Community Development. In there, when you get there, the front page or cover page, you'll see a WIN section. It's called WIN. And then there's information on there. Has the chapter budget, it has the chapter balances, the 164 tracker, the project tracker, and profile, Navajo profile. On the Navajo profile, it still has the 2010 census information, and we're going to have the 2020 information up here shortly. But back to this WIN information, you don't need a password. You don't need anything to view only. So a lot of times when you go to a chapter meeting, a lot of these funds are being discussed, and you can log on right there and see how much money each of your chapter has. Like I said, in the budget balances, every 10th day of the month, the chapter is supposed to be updating their balances. So last week, you know that the Navajo Nation Council tried to pass summer youth employment, then it failed a couple of times because the chapter had more than enough money out there still in their account to use. So if you want to see the chapter balances, go to our WIN system. It's a good system. It's a good system that The public needs to know that they keep the chapter in check. They can say, hey, you have enough money here. Why aren't you using this money for housing, discretionary repairs? Or how come you're not hiring PEP? How come you're not using this LGA money to better set up our government? So and then the other one that you can put in this into this category is scholarship, emergency, and summer youth employment. Every fiscal year, we give 13 plus million as a pool to the chapter every fiscal year. So it's not really restricted, the one that is being budgeted for the fiscal year. But if it's a standalone resolution, then it's restricted. But these you can still move around. Like right now, there's certain chapter that says that, oh, we don't have any summer youth employment money, so there's going to be no summer youth. But you can move some monies around from BEP to put into the summer youth program, so you can employ some of these employees, some of these students to be employed, so they can have money to go back to school. So I did the fiscal year based on Natsuhoki, and like I said, 13 million is allocated 50-50 to these chapters. The one that I cover is PEP, housing discretionary, LGA, emergency scholarship, and then also SYETP. So those are monies that is a little bit flexible. You can move monies around, but there needs to be a paper trail where you have a chapter resolution. That way, if there's ever an audit that happens, you can say, okay, this budget transfer, the chapter membership authorized me to move this money. It's almost the same way with over here programs within the Navajo Nation, where our bosses sign off on budget transfers, and then also OMB signs off on budget transfers. So it's the same way at the chapter. But if you go to certain limits, if you go outside the intent of the budget, then you have to have oversight committee approvals, standing committee approvals, and so forth. So those are monies that are out there. And then in terms of personnel, President signed the executive order back in January. It's working pretty good for DCD. Back in November, we had 47 vacancies. As of last week, we cut that 47 to only 16 vacancies at the chapter. That's a lot of hires that we did from April to the month of June, when we designated a person to do qualification assessment. And it's working pretty good for community development. So anytime that there's a vacancy, when the applications are submitted, and then we got those, when the closing date comes around, we do the assessment right away. Then we give it back to the LGSC, to the ASC to do the interviews and do the selection. So we're doing good on the hiring of personnel. The other executive order that we're working on right now is customer services at the chapter. Next week, Eastern Agency will be having their training on customer service. These are for the two staffs that are working at the chapter, making sure that they work well with the chapter official and also the community, and then also with other organizations. Executive order the President signed lagi. Those nowadays make sure that we participate in these elections, so Washington and also the states will recognize that we have a voting bloc here within the nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yaj Arbin. Really happy to hear all of his updates. He's such a great spokesperson. Glad to hear those updates. Yeah, she sanji kininch tselna bisni bashichin tsetna jini dashiche tabahantashinale legi twade ayisade nasha. Just a really quick thank you out to our veterans. Thank you for all of the work that you've done for us as a nation, as a body, and welcome home. I'll have to also second the that for our military, all of our relatives who are here in the United States and those that are abroad who are enlisted and probably miss home. We want to acknowledge each one of you and say thank you so much for your commitment to serving the nation. Going back to what Arben was saying, is it's so important to register to vote. I believe the deadline is tomorrow for the Navajo Nation, and we want to get you out and remind everyone to register to vote. It's really important. There's been a lot of updates since the last time I spoke. It was probably about 4 weeks ago. But I'm really proud to say that Workforce Development they actually earned the Rising Phoenix Award. I really enjoyed the update from our program manager, Orlando Wanika, when they returned from their meeting last month in Phoenix, and where they had taken 32 staff and 31 program participants to the area to do some training and professional development. And upon their return, they got a call from the Office of Labor Relations to travel to Florida because they were being recognized. And I think their plane just landed and then they had to take off again. But when they arrived there, they had a chance to hear from national workforce programs, and many of them doing really great work for their communities. Some communities might have anywhere from 5,000, 10,000 people to larger groups, but a lot of their initiatives are really focused on youth, workforce participants, internships, working with students, helping them develop their hard skills and soft skills. But at the event in Florida, they were sharing that the outcomes of some of these initiatives that were happening. So some were doing really well, getting their programs going. And they were talking about the numbers of workforce participants they had. And some might start from maybe 50 to maybe 100, maybe a few hundred. But I was really proud when they announced Navajo Nations is that they had over 1,500 participants. And unfortunately, they're doing it with half the staff, but it tells me that they are busy. They are working really hard. And I want to commend them for all of their achievements. It takes a real hardworking team to push through that and make things happen. So this week, workforce development is going to be actually this evening, tonight, about 6 o'clock. They're having a radio forum to talk about the workforce program. And we've received a lot of concern about the processing of our workforce participants. And we really want to educate the public about what happens when these programs begin underway, what types of funding sources are they using, and how do we get our workforce participants involved, engaged, and off to a really positive start. And then next week, we will head over to Fort Lewis. There is a program that's going to take place, and that will be, they start Monday evening, and then they are going to be in session for 2 days, all day Tuesday, and then all day Wednesday. So they have a lot of activities and professional development that they're working on. So I really want to commend Orlan and her team, her satellite offices that are doing such great work. Second thing I want to talk about is last week, Arctic IT completed their site visit on the Navajo Nation. So Arctic IT is a vendor that has gone through the process and was identified to be the vendor that would be able to work with us on human resource software components, the financial components, and other things like retirement benefits and a couple of other things. So when they came out, we had a chance to sit down with a team, probably about, I don't know, like 15 people, if I can recall correctly. And all of them specialized in different areas that there are very, they came with a lot of questions. So we were able to get that done. I want to commend some of our staff for pulling that all together. We had a 3-day visit planned, and we got a lot of work done during that time. So I'm proud of our team over it that coordinated all of that. And then moving on to Office of Background Investigations, the adjudication or the follow-up that has been done for, I want to say, 43 cases for this month of June, and we're not even done with June yet. So they are working really well with Office of Background Investigations, which is very different than IMS. I think you've heard me talk about this before is that IMS is Information Management Systems, and they're with the Division of Public Safety. So together, both divisions come together and they tackle that background list. And I just want to commend the team, both teams, for working together. OBI and IMS came together and they reduced the backlog for 6 months worth of cases that were pending. And, you know, it takes a lot of organization, coordination, teamwork, and just to make it happen. And I'm really proud to say that both teams were able to get backlog reduced by 6 months. That is a really, really important achievement for both teams. So I'm really happy about that. Last year, Navajo Nation TV and Film announced a $100,000 grant that focused on launching the inaugural Independent Film Festival. And so in September, I've been kind of following these projects, how they're moving along, and they're moving along really well. They are going to be launching on time their film festival in September. And so we look forward to the schedule that will come out. So please do save time to come and check out those films. As of last week, Office of Navajo Labor Relations was investigating 33 cases and then also 14 new employment charges. That program continues to be led by Ron Curtis. Office of Vital Records hired 3 new people. They will serve the areas of Tuba City, Chinle, and Window Rock. And these positions are ARPA funded. So they'll be, if they haven't already been started, then they'll be starting really soon. Staff training and development has completed 10 trainings that focus on CPR, first aid, and increasing skills with technology and progressive training. Throughout these trainings, there was a total of 158 participants, and that program is being led by Shar Kruger. So I want to thank her team for working really closely with our community. First aid and CPR are really critical for our community, so that's really helpful. The Office of Child Support continues working with our legislators at council to update policies for some of our custodial parents. So there's quite a bit that continues to happen. I am here with Division of Human Resources Administration and really appreciate the updates that I've heard so far from President, Vice President, and Arbin, and I know there's more coming, but I'm going to cut this short because I'm on interview panels today and we're interviewing people for some positions here, and just glad to see that people are really interested in continuing to work and stay involved in their communities. So yeah, thank you so much. You all have a good week, and we will talk to you soon. Hakonet.
Hey, good afternoon. Adida Isanlagi, Shay Tony Skolansy and She, Tolich Indian, Steto, Tachini, Lithuanian, Abashin, Tlislan, and I come from a community of Big Mountain. It's on the same area as Black Mesa, so it's an honor to be here today with you. I serve as the economic director for the Navajo Nation, and I just came from. We did a big ARPA distribution today, a hardship distribution. So today, distribution was over $1 million to a whole bunch of small businesses and artists, and I was telling him about. That I was really proud of them, proud of that they stayed in business. Unlike other economies in the country, the Navajo Nation shut down, for over a year. And it's a real tribute to our people that they stayed in business, or they hung on. And so the federal government gave the Navajo Nation money to help those types of folks. And what we wanted to do with that program is to reach the Shamasanas, reach the Chays, the Nullies, the artists that are out there, the weavers, the medicine people, carpenters, welders, mechanics that do business. And we're accomplishing that. We've brought on a team. There's Navajo speakers. We really are creative in how we outreach, and so today's a tribute to that. And I thought I'd start out with that. It makes me feel really good. And also, I'll talk about small business finance to start. So we're working to move $8 million. We had 16 million, but in the ARPA deliberations and the legislation that was passed, that was signed into law, we 8 million of that has been clawed back, so we have 8 million to work with, and we're actually going to go through that fairly quickly. So we're really, all these tools that we're using, online outreach, public events, is really working. The other part I want to talk about is we just on Monday we presented our CFO and we presented to the Resources and Development Committee, and we really went through the plans, how we're actually, all the work we're doing on launching this $88.7 million SSBCI fund, and I really it's a really important fund, and we're doing a lot of work to really, again, implement it. The same as I talked about the RPROP program, and we're working through our partners, Change Labs, the group out of Tuba City, will be handling amounts smaller, and they're working with like 3 lenders. And they'll be providing loan guarantees and loan participation. Why this is important, we think that starting a business on Navajo is easy, but when you start a business and you're trying to get a loan, you're trying to get financing, they really require collateral. And a lot of times they don't, they're not. They require equity from the owner. So if you got anything substantial, business size that's like $1 million in your size, or typical hotels like $10-12 million, if you're wanting to do a really good restaurant, that takes a lot of capital, and the banks require a lot of owner's equity, and a lot of our people, we don't have that kind of ready liquid capital to put into a business like that. So that's why it's one of the reasons, well, there's a variety that it makes it hard to start a business on the reservation. But what this program does is allows us to change that. There's things that get caught up, things like sovereign immunity, right? A lot of the financing will require waivers of sovereign immunity, and what this program does is that we provide the guarantee through this grant. So all our partners have to do a one-to-one fundraise, right? So the 88.7 I was talking about, it really translates to like 170 plus million. And that's really how much financing we'll be able to deploy over the next 10 years. So that's really important, and that we'll be building we're about to recruit for more banks. We're just taking an ad out into the Wall Street Journal, Albuquerque Journal, Arizona Republic. We want to have banks become our partner, have banks become our lending partner to our businesses, and really develop the acumen, the skill sets that they understand not only our guarantee programs and our loan participation program, but they also understand, like, the USDA has a really good loan guarantee program, the Small Business Administration, the BIA, So that's what we're doing with finance. We are also working on we want to start a direct investment program too. So that's something we're working on. That's called the venture cap to some, but it's not going to function similar to, how venture cap works off res. we all, if you're in that field, we know that sometimes it can be cutthroat, but this is really not what we were going with this. So I wanted to talk about those things, and we're doing a weekly online seminar. It's every Wednesday. We do an online seminar. Look at our website. Go to our you can also go to our Facebook. I know all of you guys are on Facebook. On Division of Economic Development, NavajoEconomy.org, and you can see a lot of this. It's out there, and you can really learn when the sessions are. You can start learning. This program is not launched yet. We're still putting all the pieces together. We're still getting it through the system here in Window Rock. But we had to develop a whole plan. We had to bring most of the partners on already. A lot of the work has been done. Change Labs are ready to launch. As soon as we work through
Good afternoon, everybody. Fortunately, I think Tony's having some technical difficulties, or he knows how to stay in one position for quite a long time. Hi, my name is Michelle Jones. I am the Executive Director of the Navajo Nation Gaming Regulatory Office. And I work in Window Rock. Our main offices is in Window Rock, and we have several work sites throughout where all the Navajo casinos are located. So I previously had a chance to introduce my office to everybody during February and March about what we do, because I know that a lot of people get our office, the Gaming Regulatory Office, confused with the Gaming Enterprise, the Navajo Nation Gaming Enterprise. The Gaming Enterprise is the entity that operates all the Navajo casinos on the Navajo Nation. There is the Northern Edge Navajo Casino, the Fire Rock Casino, the Flowing Water Navajo Casino, as well as the Twin Arrows and the Navajo Blue Travel Plaza. So they have a gaming floor, a casino floor inside the plaza. So those is what the Gaming Enterprise operates. For ours, we regulate those. Not only are we involved in the casino, but we're also involved in gaming activities all throughout the Navajo Nation. So this is going to give me a little bit more opportunity about what our office is doing and some of the things that we'll be doing throughout this year and the rest of the year, some of the initiatives that we're doing. Of course, our program is a Navajo Nation program. We are under the Office of the President and the Vice President. We are a regulatory office, and our responsibility, our main responsibility, is regulating gaming activities. So we have 5 departments. 3 of those departments play a major role in monitoring and enforcing all gaming laws. That is our licensing department, our enforcement department, as well as our surveillance department. So if you ever hear the phrase about, everybody knows there's eyes in the sky, you walk into a casino, they know everything that you're doing, that's our surveillance. They have cameras that are set up all throughout the casino. So back in April, I was able to provide information on the Navajo Nation Gaming Ordinance and all the laws that govern gaming on the Navajo Nation. The gaming ordinance is really significant to the Navajo Nation, and it's codified in Title V of our Navajo Nation law. It's under Chapter 10, and they titled it the Ordinance for the Regulation of Gaming Activities with the Navajo Nation, as well as our Navajo Nation Tribal Gaming Regulations. Today I want to provide some updates again on what some of our initiatives are and what we are currently working on. Things that we have right now, a couple of projects. What we've been doing is working on updating our tribal gaming regulations. So not only do we have the Navajo Nation Gaming Ordinance, we actually also have regulations within those ordinance. So the law itself is kind of is general, in some areas vague, which requires that we write some regulations. So regulations are kind of more specifies the policies and will lay out procedures and processes and so forth. So that's what the gaming regulations will do. Most of these gaming regulations are geared towards the Navajo Casino, so the Navajo Nation Gaming Enterprise. It's specific to them because they, according to Navajo law, they are the owners and operators of those facilities. However, there is a couple that will affect the public and that may be interested in that and looking at that. And one of them is creating regulations for small bingo games and raffles. So those will be coming down within the next couple of months. We'll be writing regulations for that. And we'll be also doing a campaign in bringing awareness and information to the public about that. Because people, I know that a lot of people will be affected and communities will be affected by bingos and raffles. So we will get out there to provide the public information. We are also improving our website, so more information is available to the public, so that when you get on our website, you're able to see what we have as far as all the laws and regulations that pertain to gaming activities on the Navajo Nation. The website will also provide information on licensing of gaming facility operators. We also will have a reporting component that will allow individuals to report illegal gaming or concerns with illegal gaming, as well as having information in regards to the gaming industry in general, about those who currently work at a licensed gaming facility, or they work in a casino within Navajo Nation, as well as other, our regulatory office. They'll provide information in regards to that. So we are hoping to have, kind of everything from tips into gambling legally. So we'll have an area where there's tips about where you can look at what is legal and social gambling, because some people have big office pools that happen. So we want to be able to provide all that information to the public on our website, because I know people want to stay legal. So we'll be doing that on our website. We also will be putting information, doing a public awareness and campaign, so that we will be out there in the public in regards to all these changes, in addition to the regulation changes. So those are some of our initiatives that we'll be doing, and I'll hope to provide more information on that to you guys later on. Thank you.